My name is Dandelion, and watch me go from this to this. Thank you for watching my first video. I have been wanting to do some content for a while. I am very proud of my mug, so let me just show it off. First I need to shower and shave, and I will be right back. I'll show you what skincare I use quickly. And yeah, let's get into the process. All right, we are back. I am freshly shaven and bleeding, and I would love to show you some of the skincare that I use that I would recommend for before you do some heavy makeup. They definitely say less is more for before makeup. Moisturizing is important, but the more stuff you put on your face, the more likely that your makeup is going to come off. I do a double cleanse method just because I use a physical sunscreen. This is going to be the Palmer's facial oil. I have used a lot of different facial oils and different sort of cleansing balm. That's what it is. But I just find that, I think that this is just a better price point for what you're getting. I mean, you're washing it off anyway, so I just like using this oil. Then I go in with a Naturium product, this niacinamide cleansing gel, 3%. I like this guy. Niacinamide is meant to be sort of a anti-inflammatory agent, so I like doing it every time I cleanse my faces because I am prone to redness. And then I completely dry my face, and then I go in with one of my essences or toners. I learned from Neo It Girl that essences and toners are supposed to replace the moisture that you lost in your original wash cycle. I put that on my dry face, and then I just go in with my moisturizer. Any sort of serums or peptides or anything like that, I would have done the night before. I don't want to put anything more on my face than I need to. So I just like using this Cream Daily Facial Moisturizer. I just got this the other day. I've used a lot of different facial moisturizers. I have very dry skin. But again, just kind of for the price point, I wanted to try something that was a little more budget friendly, honestly. I've heard great things about Cream. For reference, I believe the Cream is 3 ounces, and I used to get the Naturium one. It was 1.7 ounces, and they're the same price. Then we're going to go in with one of my kind of secret obsessions. I mean, it's something I haven't been able to get into makeup without for a couple years now. Even though I have dry skin, I'm a very sweaty girl. I sweat a lot, especially when I put on makeup and all the pads and whatever. I sweat. So I discovered this face antiperspirant. As far as I know, this is just an aluminum-based antiperspirant, which obviously a lot of people are against using. But I use it on my face, and it stops me sweating. And it works. I believe it has silicone in it, so you can kind of think of it as a silicone-based primer. But gosh darn it, this works so good. And I just, honestly, I can't get in makeup without it. I think I have one reoccurring subscription on Amazon, and this is it. Because I always am running out of this, I always need it. So yeah, let me slather some of this on. So I like to get this everywhere that I'm really sweating a lot, which honestly includes even under my eyes, my upper lip, and obviously my forehead, so that's everywhere. Correct! Really get it in kind of to your sideburns and into where you're going to be sweating into your hairline. You can always wash this off later, especially that oil cleanser is going to do a good job of removing this. I don't worry as much about this clogging my pores as long as I do a good job exfoliating, you know what I mean? I really have to make sure I get this into my eyebrows because I sweat a lot on my eyebrows. This is one of my secret tips to making sure my eyebrows does not lift. All right, now that we have our little stuff dried here, I'm going to alcohol my eyebrows. The reason I do alcohol my eyebrows is to remove any excess oil from them so I can lay them down better when I do glue them down. And then I'm also going to alcohol my sideburns and forehead a little bit, which probably, again, sounds crazy. But it's just so I can get my tape when I tape my wig cap on. We'll see here soon. And then we're going to get our wig cap. What the hell was that? I would say even the makeup girlies that I know really struggle with gluing down their brows. So here is how we do it. I have fine hair and I have light hair. I'm blessed by the Lord when it comes to gluing down my eyebrows. Comb. Elmer's glue stick. You may have heard of her. She's the daughter of El and Mer Stick. They invented a glue using an epoxy resin.
Right.
But the first layer is important just to make sure you get every hair covered. It doesn't matter what direction they're going in right now. You just want to get like literally every angle of every hair covered in glue. Don't worry about the messiness for right now. Obviously try to stay, you know, somewhat sane, but we just get a fine-tooth comb and we brush them up. Smooth it out after. I think you could probably do that with a lot of different products other than just a fine-tooth comb, but you know, the point is that if you already have, like if you have thicker coarse brows, for example, if you glue them down and you just keep putting glue over like kind of a rigid brow, I mean, think of like how it's like literally the same thing of how the sand dunes are formed.
Correct!
It's because ridges just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you have a crunchy brow, and that's when oatmeal brows form. So just making sure you're combing out the glue, just making like you're kind of gluing it to your face. Now then you've seen into my eyes. So when I'm putting on the second layer, you're not scrubbing. You're going in the direction that you combed up your hairs. People do comb their hairs in different directions. For mine, I just comb them straight up. And you're kind of using like I'm pressing pretty hard to use the structure of the, you know, glue stick. Kind of keep smoothing it out as I glue. And I only need to do, excuse me, 2 or 3 layers. Some people need to do more, again, if you just have a coarser brow. But, you know, do what makes you happy. I think the air is just kind of dry here. Kind of like your vagina, mama. So I think it just dries a lot quicker here than maybe other places, and I don't have to worry about layers and, you know, waiting for layers. I'm a complete liar, and I'm waiting for this layer to dry down. Shout out to my boyfriend Jesus for being the production manager. So this is probably maybe the last layer I do before I do something else. Glue, 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 glue. Glue, 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 glue. Jane, don't put that in. Okay, now I'm gonna do something crazy craze. And I do this. When I am doing my makeup on somebody else, I dip my finger into water.
Right.
But something about using spit just feels so, you know? I have done the mistake. So you're smoothing out the ridges. Kind of press it out. I've seen people use spoons, whatever. I've seen people just lick the glue stick itself. I like using my finger so I can feel it, smooth out those ridges. Excuse me. So this layer is really just to stick the powder to it, to be completely honest. I waited for it to dry pretty good before this layer. Oops, see that? And then we just do that. And then maybe we do her too. And yeah. Okay. Then I'm gonna get the powder. This is not the kimchi chic powder. This is actually the RCMA powder. This is just way easier to dip a powder puff into. So yeah, I just put the RCMA powder into this, and then I lie. I think this is kimchi chic. So I think the main thing with powder is like literally I'm using the fingers through the puff to press on my brow. Press, press, press. Press, press, press. Now that our brows are glued down, the world is our oyster. I think that brows are like really the anchor of the entire makeup.
Right.
So I start with them. For brows, I just really use anything brown and creamy. Yeah, I'm gonna use one of these Curve Case shades. This is the Curve Case made by Mitchell. I'm going to probably use this shade to do my brows. Brows almost always have to be a cool tone because it's 3D, so it's creating a shadow, and shadows are cool toned. Even with real makeup, if your brows are warm toned, it looks makeup-y. Like, this is the only way to describe it. I just alcohol my brushes right before I use them. I never sit down and clean my brushes. I just kind of get the product off right before with alcohol. And if you use synthetic brushes, the alcohol doesn't do anything to them, I don't think. So, slay. Okay, I'm gonna go in with that guy. Almost every time I use a product, I go in on it with the back of my hand to like get off excess. And then I'm gonna start sketching on my brow. So I do kind of a point method. The front, the tail, and I'm sorry, the front, the arch, and then the tail. This is gonna be the bottom of the brow. If you notice the front of it, I like to really keep in reality, you know what I mean? Where my kind of the actual bottom of my brow is, just to kind of make it look a little more realistic. The lift is going to be the arch, which is clearly like almost a half an inch above and outside. And then I try to do the tail almost straight out from there. I have done a lot before, like the tail down here, but it just kind of isn't flattering. It's not lifting. You know what I mean? So yeah, and then I'm just going to kind of draw on the bottom from there. And obviously it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be cleaning it up. I'm really just trying to get the base color down for now. So now that the bottom lines are down and they're almost symmetrical, I kind of just sketch out the rest of the brow shape by adding maybe a centimeter on top of the bottom. I like a skinny brow. Okay. Now that really just the base color is down, I'm going to sketch them out. This is where the magic really happens. For almost all the whites in my face that are liquid or cream, I use the Kimchi White Concealer. Right. See, I kind of messed it up, but luckily it's still cream. So I can fix that. That's one of the benefits of doing your brows first is you can kind of just wipe it off if it doesn't work out. If I were to do my brows any other part of my makeup, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, good enough. I'm going to use the Dermablend Cream Cover in Cool Beige 15. And it's just so much easier. It's so much more pigmented just to use this rather than my liquid foundation, which I'll again show you in a second. Carved. George Washington what? Carver. I like to anchor my elbow on my vanity while I do a lot of stuff like this, just because it makes it a lot more stable, kind of adding a point of contact. All right, now that the brows are pretty darn symmetrical, the whole thing, not sisters, not twins, not cousins, they've met each other. One brow was the other brow's third grade teacher, I think. I'm gonna go in and draw some hair strokes, a la Jan Sport. Actually, I like Valentina. I like the way that Jan Sport does hers a lot. I honestly take a lot of makeup inspo from Jan Sport, just because I think that Jan Sport, oh my god. I think that Jan takes, really walks the line between beauty and stage makeup, where it's big shapes, but she looks like a woman. To draw on my hairs, I like to use really any brown liquid eyeliner. This is the NYX one. I like the NYX one because it's very long lasting. But more than anything, it just has a very fine point, so I can get very fine hair strokes. I would say the biggest difference between Jan and Valentina's season, Valentina's was a lot thicker. It looked like grill marks on her face. Whereas Jan's looks like hair strokes, it looks like microblading. And I try to follow that a little bit. So if you were to do microblading, it's kind of following this line all the way throughout your face. So that's the angle that my hair strokes are going to go. And that's kind of the same sort of technique with microblading, and I just kind of follow it with the eyeliner here. All right, so now that I've done the main middle hair strokes, I really just fill in the entire tail with the eyeliner, just because it's really the darkest part of the brow anyways. So now that my brows are on, I'm going to do the rest of my foundation. For foundation, I use the good old Dermablend Leg and Body. And because this is too dark for me, they don't really have a good shade for me because I'm cool toned, but I'm not like the fairest of them all, you know what I mean? So I have to mix in these Dermablend pigment drops just to kind of lighten it up a little bit. These are literally pure pigment, so it also adds a little bit of coverage. And before I do this, you dummy, I need to do my primers. And I actually meant to do them on before I laid my brows down. But I'll just kind of go around. So to start for my primer, just to add a little more moisture to the face and add a little more tackiness, I use the e.l.f. grip. Literally like a lot. Except probably not as much for right now because I have to avoid the brows. I just make sure to get this on places that are going to be really dry. I would ideally like to get this on my brows like, I'll have to show you in another video, because if you kind of pat this on top of the powder of the brow, it really erases a lot of the powder and makes it just look more visible.
Right, right.
But for now, it's just going to go in places where I need moisture, which is literally everywhere. So I basically used, kind of hard to see now, but like probably like 70% of the pigment drops, just because I'm a little fairer right now, like a little more pale than I sometimes am. And then this is going to be for, honestly, for longevity. The Leg and Body is just really good for like making sure that it stays a long time. But yeah, and then I just mix them together with, you know, anything. Mix, 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 mix. All right. So that's a little more of the tone that I'm going for. Is this a trust the process moment? Maybe. But if I painted my color, my skin tone, if I painted my face, my actual skin tone, I would be red. And that's not pretty. And this technically is a cool color. I know it looks crazy right now, but it will look crazier.
Right.
The saying says you have to make sure to always get the ear. No one wants a red ear sticking out of their wig. I just kind of scrub her in there, you know what I mean? Okay, and then I'm going to do a little more foundation kind of on my décolleté here, because I'm wearing a little sweetheart top tonight with no necklace, just kind of feature my décolleté, and I just really want it to be painted. So I am going to paint my body really quick using the same method of pigment drop versus Dermablend Leg and Body. And I'll probably just use a little more of this just because my body can be a little more tan than my face. You know, according to the laws of nature.
Right, right.
I probably won't go too far down my arms just because, excuse me, it's a hassle. All right, now that my décolletage, I literally don't know how to say it, is all painted, I am going to do the rest of my creams. I like to do a lot of my makeup in creams or liquids just because it's a lot easier to fix if something goes wrong. If you powder your face and then you need to fix something, it's kind of a lot more of a complicated situation. So I'm just going to go in with a few creams. I'm just going to use this curve case again. I'm just going to go in with the side of my beauty sponge here. I think I'll probably go in with this really warm one for now, and then if that's too warm, I'll kind of mix into the other one. Yeah, that looks good. I like it. I'm probably just going to do a little bit of the darker one, just literally on the pocket, So kind of right there, you see? It should be above the shadow of your face to kind of snatch your face more. It should not be like, the focal point should not be in the shadow itself. The point is to lift your face. The point is not just to like, I don't know. You can kind of make it look more saggy or, I don't know, worse.
Correct!
If you put it too low. So see how it just kind of is right behind my cheekbone there? A lot of people would put it down there, but I put it a little more like up there. Okay, now I'm going to do a little more bronzing on the face just to add a little more dimension. And then I like to do the old ginger minge and paint on the jawline here. And again, you would probably never do this in beauty makeup. So like, you get to break every rule. And then the darker one, probably just like a little bit back here. And I'm going to take that all the way down, kind of like towards my Adam's apple. Okay, so that's basically the amount of color that I like. I'm just probably going to correct the, I'm going to cut this a little more because I kind of blended it down a little too low. And then I'm going to do a little on my nose. I'll probably do a little more than that because, you know, I don't have the most feminine nose in the world. Who said that? And I'm just going to go in with the Kimchi white concealer. Just because it's literally white. Like, that's why I like it. I know, you know, you can blend it out. It doesn't look completely white on your face. I just like that you can get as much brightness as possible. You know what I mean? And I'm a pale person, clearly, but. So, who likes who? What movies has everyone seen recently? I'm going to continue that little nose there. I do the good old exclamation point, you know what I mean? I like to bring my bridge of my brow, my nose a little higher, just because I feel like it, I don't know, for some reason I feel like it feminizes my face. I don't know why. Boops. Boops. And then I'm just kind of blending it up into the forehead because I have a big brow and a shadow is created right in the middle of my brows here. So I just kind of like to add a little highlight there just to make it look like a little less of a brow, you know what I mean? Because she has Neanderthal genes. Correct! Okay, so I am just adding some of that white concealer with a beauty blender and just kind of blending it on the rest of my face. I'm going to do this in 2 layers. Okay, once we're in kind of a happy place. Are you happy yet? I'm going to answer that. Now I'm going to go in with another layer. So I'm just going to do a little more concealer. Okay, I like that. And now we're going to do a little blush. I think I'm just going to use this Curve Case again. This Made by Mitchell Curve Case. I'm going to start with Coral and just add a little more warmth to kind of like the entire wash of my cheek. And then I'll probably just add a little more hotness with probably Strawberry Cream. I'll see how they kind of look. So I'm just going to take a clean part of the sponge, same sponge, just pick up a little bit of product. Oh, this melts like crazy. It's like so balmy, or whatever that word would be. Emollient? Nice. Okay. And I'm just going to add this, pick up a little more probably. I think it looks good. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the tip of my nose, probably just kind of on the, and then a little bit up here on my nose. I think I might grab something else to do, like a little more of a hotter pink to do the blush here. I'll be right back. This is just a Mayron cream paint stick. These are great for blushes. I've had them for years. I used to use them for like a lot more like colorful foundations and stuff like that. I don't like using them for my base makeup anymore because they're like almost too creamy. They don't set on their own. So they're almost too creamy. They're not very waterproof.
Right.
But they're great for blush. Like, they're very pigmented and they blend out like a dream. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to blend it up. Pretty. And then we're ready to powder. So again, I'm going to go in with the RCMA powder, Powder Puff, and I press it the hell in there. And then I am probably just going to, like, you know, take a little drink, sit down for a second, and I'm going to let this bake. Yeah, and we'll be right back. I think it's called White Claw Surge because a surge of vomit comes out every time. Hey, so we're going to go back and we are going to brush off the excess powder. What did you guys do on your break? I went to summer camp. I got a boyfriend. And then I like to basically set immediately. I like to use like a kind of a more moisturizing setting spray. I'll probably use the e.l.f. Dewy. Not the green one, the coconut one. This is basically just to rehydrate the face, to rehydrate the makeup, that is, because it looks dry and crusty after you powder it a lot like that. Their green one has like, I don't know, when it says dewy, it creates a film on the face, that's like sticky, and I don't like that. I'd rather just have like a hydrating, and it is doing naturally, you know what I mean? And again, we're hydrating the makeup, so go in, Mom. Happy? Wait till I saw the sign. Don't know why I didn't come. Okay, so the first thing I do after kind of rehydrating the makeup is I want to kind of put some powder on the under eye for when I do my eyeshadow. Also, I just loosened my tape a little bit because when I go in a little too fiercely, it hurts after like literally an hour. So why screw yourself over and put a wig on top of it? Guys, I found it. Okay, and this is the Ben Nye Super White Professional Powder. It's pretty much just like a white pigmented setting powder. And again, I just put this kind of on my under eyes for when I am doing my eyeshadow. Okay, and then we're gonna do some eyeshadow. I'm probably gonna go with just a little more of a neutral look tonight.
Right.
I'm gonna use the Trixie Mattel or Trixie Cosmetics Horse Girl palette. This is some neutrals that I really, really like. That are really like rich, you know what I mean? I'm probably gonna go mostly in with this Giddy Up color. And then, yeah, Giddy Up. I'm gonna go in with that first. Just kind of go into the pocket. So I don't have to worry about blending or how far down it's gonna go because I'm gonna cut it. But I'm trying not to go too far up because I'd rather have it a little more highlighted up there. I want a little more of a smaller eye makeup.
Right.
Yo, can you believe it? I love these Trixie Mattel eyeshadows. Even when like people for like, you know, daily makeup ask me my favorite eyeshadows, I almost always say the Trixie Cosmetics eyeshadows because they're so pigmented, but they're so blendable. Like it's pigment plus you can kind of blend this out to be a customizable shade. Like if I wanted to just do this, only this color, I could just blend this up and call it a day. But instead, I'm just going to use one of the lighter colors. I'm just saying it's a very nice product.
Correct!
I'm going to go in with Hey Girl. Is that one. And kind of just like do a transition color, and then I'll probably do that sugar cube on top there. All right, now I'm going to go in, probably actually on the other side first, with Hey Girl. Here. And then I'll probably go in with this cult classic, That Girl. Just a tiny little kiss, just to kind of create more shadow. Okay, so now that I'm pretty happy with just like the main base of the eyeshadow, actually I'm gonna go onto the under eye, and then I'm gonna cut my crease. I'm gonna start with Giddy Up, that main kind of color that we used, and just do pretty close to my lash line and outside. All right, eyeshadow's on. It's looking a little like pee and poop. I can't even lie, but you can use baby girl. What's your name? Maybe I'll try it. Guys, let's try something else. Let's do something else for a change. I'm going to go in with one of these. So this is the Ellis Atlantis Blend Bunny Cosmetics Eye and Face Palette. I think I'm going to go in with the Engineer, which kind of looks a little more like a little bit of a warm silver. Yeah, let's see how it looks. Ooh, 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 ooh. I like a cut crease that follows your natural eye shape. In my case, I have an eye that kind of goes like up and then down, kind of like, I don't even know what that would be, but I just kind of like to follow that natural shape without going too high. Sometimes I do go a lot higher. Okay, I did it to the other side. Like how I said I was doing a smaller eye makeup look, and literally my crease is like where my brow was, but that's life. I am just going to add a little bit to the bottom corner here. Just going to start mapping out a little bit of a bottom eye shape, and it will just be prettier when I add a little bit of white eyeliner there. Same shimmer, so pretty, by the way.
Correct!
And then I'm gonna go in with eyeliner. I go in with a gel. This is the Inglot one. I like the Trixie Cosmetics ones a lot too. They just dried out on me before I knew the trick about leaving the foil in it. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Just gonna dip her in, dip her in, dip her in. Everyone say a prayer. Okay. If you guys are curious, I am going to a gig tonight in my hometown of Denver, Colorado. I am part of a competition at a bar called X Bar here. Tonight is the first night, and it's Halloween themed. And I love Halloween. Halloween is like my favorite season. And yeah, the look, I'm kind of going for like kind of a more ringmaster. It's going to be like a bodysuit, like a green kind of strapless swimsuit.
Right.
And then a red blazer. So now I'm going to do a little bit of liquid. So I'm using the One Size Point Made liquid eyeliner. I do love this. I've literally had it for years. I'm not even kidding you, which is probably not the most sanitary, but it has not dried out, is my point, which is so cool. I just kind of made them a little more symmetrical. I'm going to clean it up because you see it's not as sharp as it could be with white eyeliner in a second. But first I'm going to do some black on my waterline. Yeah, it's going to be the black eyeliner. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Kind of slay, right? Correct! Now I'm going to go in with the white eyeliner. So I just use, again, there's a lot out there. I have this kimchi one. I'm probably going to start with my floating line up here. Just kind of following where I did that shimmer. Okay. See that, Mom? What I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in with the One Size Stage White, do mascara and lashes. I'm going to go in with the Max Stack right now because it's the freshest one that I have. Okay. Pretty. I'm going to do some lashes. I'm going to go in with these Kimchi Chic. These are the... Is it Set Biche? Set Biche? This Biche. French. Okay, this is the This Biche lash. So for lash glue, I just use the, it's hair weave glue. I put these on the wrong eye. Seems to have not mattered with the first one. Let's try it with the second one. I'm just adding a little bronzer, not much, but kind of just to like, again, add the dimension that we lost when we set our face. I'm going to use the Blend Bunny Ellis Atlantis Solar Flare Dimension Palette. Okay, then I'm going to do the, let's do it. I'm going to do Eclipse from the Lunar Eclipse Dimension Palette. That's this girl. Okay. It is unfortunately time for lips. Lips are very hard for me because I really draw on a different lip shape. I oftentimes do it on, like when my makeup's still wet, just because it's a little easier to like clean it up if you need to. But I forgot. All of you can like, oh gosh, I forgot. So we're going to do it now and we're going to do our best. Guess what else can we do? I am going to use, I think Whirl. This is Whirl by MAC. So I like to kind of do the same thing with the lips that I do with like my brows, or even I guess what I do with my eyeliner is map it out and then fill it in. Just because it's really hard to just freehand the entire way. So I like to draw up and I like to extend the corners and the bottom. And it's hard to draw like a completely symmetrical lips from scratch. So bear with me. Okay. Looks pretty symmetrical. I'm going to go in with my lipstick. I am going to use the old Trixie Mattel lipstick Eden. That's really pretty. I like that. All right. I am done with my lip and I'm done with my blush. I am just going to set really quick. But first, I'm going to go in with some highlighter. I like this. This is the same Ellis Atlantis launch, the Celestial highlighter, Celestial Cheek Glaze. It's just like a pink shimmer, and it's stunning. Where my nose highlight is. All right, that's it. All right, everyone, this is the final look. Do we see the vibe? Do we see the ringmaster, sort of showgirl sort of vibe? Yeah, because that's it, so you better. Thank you so much for joining me on my first Get Ready With Me. I hope there are a lot more to come. Please let me know what you would like to see. Yeah, please like, subscribe, follow, kiss.